The Rockets shot a lot of threes in last night's blowout win against the Wizards. And when I say a lot, I mean 55 to be exact. But Houston did set an NBA single-game record by making 26 of them, breaking the record with about 30 seconds left in garbage time. The Rockets are on a 5-game winning streak and are 7th in the West. We're joined by NBA champ Matt Barnes. Matt, good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Matt, how far will the Rockets style take them when they're playing this way?
I think the Rockets style offensively can take them as far as it can go. I don't see the offense being a problem. I see their main key is they miss Trevor Ariza and defense. People don't understand. It may not have always showed up on the stat sheets, but what Trevor did defensively and knocking down big threes and a veteran who's been there and done that is you can't replace something like that. And they try to replace it with scoring. So I think the offense will be fine. If they can get some stops down the stretch is what's going to be important.
I agree with you. I don't believe they can exclusively win because this will be the third year in a row, Skip. They're on the shoot 43s a game. And that's what Daryl Morey constructed this team to do. But where they're lacking, as you mentioned, Matt, defensively, they're 27th in defensive efficiency this year as opposed to 7th. So when you lose Mbah a Moute, you lose Trevor Ariza, and you try to add score, they try to add with Carmelo, that didn't work out. But when you had Mbah a Moute, they had Ariza, you had Capella, you have CP3. Now you have 4 guys, with the exception of James Harden, that can switch everything and can guard multiple positions.
Yep.
Trevor Ariza also could knock down big corner threes. The corner 3 ball, he was as good as anybody shooting that shot. And he always took the opposing team's best offensive player, be it LeBron, KD, Paul, whomever it is, Russ, Kyrie, whomever it was. So now, okay, PJ. But PJ's undersized. PJ's what, 6'5", 6'6"? So when you try to put him on KD at 6'10", or you try to put him at LeBron, he's at a decided disadvantage.
He is, but he will fight.
Oh, yeah. He bulldog tough now. He bulldog tough. But when you got the more big dog now, you know, I mean, right now he a pit bull, but you know, them St. Bernards out there, KD and Bron, they ain't to be messed with, Skip Bayless, all kind of how. But I think that's going to be the problem when it's all said and done, because here's the thing. At some point in time now, and we saw what happened in Game 7. They missed, what, 24, 25 threes in a row. So you got to have another pitch. If the fastball, Aroldis Chapman, 105, they don't catch up with it, you're good. But what happens when they start teeing off on you? Can you come with the changeup? Can they have somebody that can go with the, now James Harden is, you know, and they don't be giving them all them ticky-tack fouls in the playoff that they give them now. That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, but still, I just don't think you can count them out offensively. I'm not for the analytic-type basketball that they've created over their 3 or dunk or whatever. I mean, that's not real basketball. We're just more off a feel. But like I said, with those 2 guys, with Chris and James, offensively, you can never count them out. But like I said, I think it's really going to wear on them defensively down the stretch.
So here's what gets me about what you guys are talking about. And I do not disagree with your premise. But just if I take Trevor Ariza in and of himself and put him in a vacuum, he's not a difference-making superstar player. But he is the missing ingredient for that team.
Correct.
And again, he has value on the open market. We just saw what happened with the trades.
Imagine if he would have went to the Lakers. Like, he instantly puts the Lakers at a contender if Trevor would have went to the Lakers.
But he's not. I mean, I can't even go star for Trevor.
No.
But again, glue or guts or whatever that thing is.
And you don't have to run plays for it.
Okay?
Great role player.
So look what's happened to Houston so far. I know it's still pretty early, but they finished last year 6th in defensive efficiency. For them, because they set records last year for threes, attempts, and makes for the year, but they were 6th in defense. This year, they're 24th in defense, and it's just because of that one guy, unless you want to throw in Mbah a Moute in.
Right.
He was hurt a lot.
But again, it helped a little bit. And yet, look at what happened last year. They led the league in road wins last year. They were 31-10 away from Houston, and they're 7-9 now. Well, is that just because of Trevor Ariza? Is it just like road grit? You know, like
I think the energy too. You know, adding someone like Chris Paul, it was something new. It was something special. They were the toast of the town last year. Everyone was talking. Okay, we finally have someone that can beat the Warriors. You know what I mean? And you build a great team on paper. And arguably, if Chris doesn't get hurt, they possibly could beat the Warriors.
Right.
Maybe.
But when you build these teams on paper, what sets you apart is the chemistry. You know what I mean? So that they seemed to find that, and it was fun. But, you know, I know for a fact, you know, talking to a few guys, they missed Trevor, and then that kind of took the wind out of their sails because Trevor, like I said, it wasn't a stat sheet Some nights it would be a big stat sheet night, but other times it's just leadership. It's leading by example. I've been there. I've knocked down shots in the finals. I've locked down the best player on the other team in the finals, and he's a dog.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like you said, PJ is a dog too, but he's small.
Right.
And they have him playing down on the bigger on the 4s and 5s, but they missed that long wing defender.
So do you consider this a great three-point shooting team, or do they just take a bunch of threes?
I mean, it just depends. Some nights they're great. Some nights they just take a bunch of threes. You know, like I said, it's a flip of the coin, but you can never go wrong with James Harden and Chris Paul being your two leaders offensively.
But Chris hadn't been the same this year, and this is what happens.
He missed 5 games.
Right, and he's always nicked at some point in time.
Yeah, very true, but it's still December. It's still December. For the NBA, when I explain the NBA to people, the NBA season starts off amazing energy, amazing tempo. It dies out until Christmas. If you play on Christmas, those are some of the biggest games. Then it dies out again until All-Star break, and then it picks back up in March. Similar with the Warriors. Like, it's really a marathon. And for someone like Chris, I'm not worried about Chris giving me 25 and 13 right now. I want Chris to give me 25 and 13 in April and May and stay healthy, hopefully into June. So right now, I think there's so much attention on game by game because there's so many different outlets now. These guys know how to pace themselves, pace their body, and know when it's really time to go out and play.
Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, you take a bunch of threes. You don't make a bunch of threes. What's your out pitch now?
You don't have one because that's what they play there in Houston. That's why I don't like the system, because if they're gonna literally die by the three, because that's all they have is three in layups.
So all of a sudden, Houston in this little stretch before Christmas started to click a little bit and figure it back out. So they've won 5 straight. So from what you've seen from LeBron and the Lakers at this point, and again, are they going to acquire Anthony Davis? We don't know. But let's just say they go forward with what they are now. Where do they fit in the West from what you've seen so far?
I think to piggyback off something else I said, you're not going to see the best Lakers until March or April. I think the most important thing with them is chemistry. I think they know who their second option now is, and that's Kuz. And I've been saying that, and I'm in his ear about it. Like, you are the next option. But imagine if they picked up another person to have Kuz as a third option. I think there will possibly be one player where he can making real noise in the Western Conference. But I see him
next year
or through trade this year.
Okay, but if you're trading for Anthony Davis, you're going to have to give up Kyle Kuz.
And who knows if it's going to be Anthony Davis? You know, Gordon Hayward is lost. I mean, there's a lot of heavy.
No, we don't need him.
But I'm saying if you have another guy that you know you can throw the ball to, Kuz is turning into that. Don't get me wrong. And Lonzo is developing despite what everyone else says. I love the way he plays the point, their energy.
But Rondo coming back. You still gonna love it when he gonna get minutes gonna be decreased by 10.
You know, hopefully, you know, with Rondo being the vet he is, and they can make that work. It's gonna be interesting. But like I said, this is all going to chemistry. This is what sets the great teams apart, is their chemistry. Like I said, I don't see them clicking on a chemistry meter until March after the All-Star break.
Okay, let's say Lakers stay as is right now. How far can they go?
I mean, it's a flip of the coin. I like Denver. You know, you can't count Houston out, but I can see, you know, and get the rhythm and get their chemistry down. I can see them playing the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals.
Okay. How good can Kyle Kuzma be? And again, you're in his ear.
I think he can. I think he's an all-star. I think he's right now. He's definitely a valuable second option for them, and he's still young. You know what I mean? As far as NBA experience, so I love what he does, and
Which is what? What do you see?
He's tough. He's a dog, and he does what needs to be done on both ends. He plays some defense. He runs the lanes. He can score ISO.
They play a little defense. You saw Jared Dudley go by him twice.
Well, no one really. It's lost art in the NBA. Obviously, you know, defense doesn't really matter, which is so unfortunate.
You could deal Jared Dudley right now.
Yeah, I could deal up a lot of people right now.
Well, I believe that. But you played defense.
Right.
I mean, you took pride in that end of it.
It's a different game now, you know what I mean? And you have to adjust or get left behind. Right now, they don't care about defense. The NBA wants the 130-point game. That's why our game is going so global now, you know, with all the dunks and three-pointers, and it's a world global domination of the NBA, just for this simple reason, is they're calling a lot of fouls, so you can't touch people because they want to see 130 points. They want to see James go for 50. They want to see Steph go for 100. They want to see teams hit 53s. They want to see a bunch of dunks. This is what they want to see in basketball. Now, is it for purists and basketball enthusiasts, is this real, the type of basketball we love? Not necessarily, but we have to adjust because it's what the game is now.
NFL is doing the same thing. Baseball is tightening the strike zone because they want to see home runs. Nobody wants to see that 1-0 ball game. Nobody wants to see
kids,
10-7 football.
I'm not teaching my kids. You know, I grew up a Magic Johnson fan. I want to get the team involved, pass the ball. I'm teaching my kids to go out there, be level-headed players, but score the basketball. Like, that's what the game is now, score the basketball.
How old are your kids?
They're twins. They're 10.
10.
So, yeah, we play AU. So it's just, you know, I'm teaching them how to be.
Scoring?
Oh, yeah, they're scoring. Yeah, our team is scoring. No, they play D. No, they play D.
They cherry picking,
They're
man.
playing D, but there's not an emphasis on just, you know, right now is if you score, that's what it is. That's what the game turned into.
Okay, so talk about Kyle Kuzma on offense. What's his ceiling? What do you
I don't
see?
think he has a ceiling. He continues to get better. He's working with, you know, Kobe in the offseason. Doesn't get any better than that. And he really seems like he loves to learn and improve. And he had a solid player last year, a big jump this year. And like I said, he's going into his, you know, going in his 3rd year, 4th year next year. I continue to see these large bounds of improvement. I don't know. There is a ceiling for him. 6'9", long, strong, dog.
Totally fearless. Just totally.
I love it.
And no memory at all. If he misses a couple, he just keeps firing.
And that's what the great players do. I mean, I remember Kobe. I'll miss 30 shots in a row, and I'm gonna take the next shot. You know what I mean? Not that he's a Kobe player, but you have to have that kind of mentality when you're going out there to be a scorer.
But it's also he's playing with LeBron. Kobe played with Shaq, but Shaq was like a center. Imagine Kobe playing with another guard.
I'm not saying that Kuzma's a solidified second scorer yet. For the Lakers, he is. There's no question about that. He will get there and possibly be a #1 option down the road. I mean, like I said, there's no ceiling on him. But for what the Lakers have right now, he's definitely proven himself as LeBron knows he can throw the ball to him. Like I said, last time I came on the show, LeBron is sitting back and finding out who he can throw the ball to in situations in March and April and May. And Kuzma's clearly
how
that.
difficult is it to play with a LeBron? Because we hear a lot of people talking about, well, what was the term that he used? It's toxic, and he dominates the ball. How difficult is it to play? You play with Kobe.
That's what Kevin
Durant said.
It just depends. I think every situation is different. I just think from a standpoint of there's just always a tension on the team and on LeBron, and maybe if you crumble under the lights or situations like that, it may be a little tougher. But I was different playing with Kobe because I knew my role. Like, shoot corner threes, play defense, get offensive rebounds, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't like a go-to type player, so I didn't have to adjust my game to play with Kobe. I just did what I did. So, it may be harder for some superstars that are used to bringing the ball down when LeBron is going to be bringing, situations like that. But for the most part, if you play the game and run, to me, it looks fun. So it's hard for me to really digest when people say it would be tough or I would hate to play or I would love to play with the LeBron.
Yeah. Everybody loves to play LeBron.
All right, Matt, you're going to stick around a bit. We're going to talk about the Warriors. Are they starting to look a bit vulnerable this season? We'll discuss all that.